Hello everyone and welcome to the Alliance live show number 75. We're ready to rock and roll here. Looks like good old Maurice or somebody isn't let me just check to make sure I got this right. Isn't prepped. Okay, I'll wait till Maurice comes back. I guess Maurice got kicked there at the last second. Hope everybody's doing okay. Anyway.
Oh, I'm doing great. Oh, sorry, were you asking me?
yeah. I don't know. I think we lost Maurice. Let me just take his camera off here. Okay, so yeah, how you doing today? I'm joined by TMoney and good old Maurice as usual, but I think Maurice is having some technical difficulties. How you doing, T?
Really good.
Good. So it's a very fun Sunday night. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, we have a few new characters in the game. We have some information in regards to the next possible legendary character coming out, and you know, obviously, we have a whole ton to talk about since last week. So we'll dive right in here. First and foremost, the new characters. Let me go ahead and pull up. Go ahead and pull up the new characters that dropped here. So we got Carth Onasi and Juhani. So I haven't actually unlocked them yet here. So we're going to go ahead and unlock Juhani right now. So have you had a chance to mess around with this character at all, T? I mean, have you, I know, you know, obviously without the test accounts, it's not as easy, but I mean, have you had a chance to, you know, level up a little bit and kind of play around with her in GW or something?
Not really. No, I just in the event itself, I have the benefit of being in a guild with Jedi Master Adastra, who is you know, really one of the game's top Jedi experts, and so she's been testing and you know, working through the character, using it in arena. We put a couple of them on defense and territory wars, and it's been an interesting week. Really, when we read the kit, it looked like she was going to be a possible replacement for General Kenobi. Not sure about that now. I don't think that's going to be the case. It looks like she's going to fit potentially with an Old Republic squad. Maybe play around with her under Cure lead. She looks very versatile, very good. But General Kenobi remains king in arena. It looks like.
Yeah, I think so too, and that's really the problem I have with the characters. Or, I mean, I like them, you know. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, where do you put them, you know? And I like Carth Onasi. I think he's cool. You know, we'll get into him in a minute. But Juhani, being a Jedi, seems like she'd fit right into that Revan meta, you know, right into that Revan squad. But again, I don't know. I feel like there's still better options in the current squad that I'm using. Like right now, I'm running, you know, Kenobi, like you said, and I don't know. I mean, as a tank, she seems like she does a little bit more damage than Kenobi, but the utility that Kenobi provides, like the cleansing and the ability to call in all allies to assist, I don't know. I think that provides a little bit too much value. Now, again, this is a marquee character. Kenobi is a legendary character, so there is a difference there, but I mean, she definitely does add a lot of value, and it depends on what level you are at the game. I mean, again, if you don't have Kenobi yet, this is the way to go. She's, I think, somebody that will probably still be decent at 4 stars. Again, you know, we haven't had much testing on the character yet, but what I have seen so far, you know, she does decent damage with her area of effect attack. On her basic, let's see here. Deal physical damage to target enemy. This attack deals 10% more damage for each debuffed enemy. Okay, so for enemies that are debuffed, she does more damage with her basic. In her area of effect attack, okay, let's see. This is not her area of effect. So dispel all debuffs on Jedi and Old Republic allies. Then Juhani gains taunt for 4 turns. Stuns the target enemy for 1 turn, which can't be evaded. So a 4-turn taunt. Is there any other taunt in the game that has 4 turns? I think that's the biggest taunt in the game, right?
Yeah, I think so, and it's a 4-turn cooldown, so theoretically, if you're not going to bring in a Dispeller, then she's just going to be constantly taunting.
Right. Stuns the target enemy for 1 turn, which can't be evaded. Okay, so that's also a taunt. I mean, a stun, and then with her special here, the area of effect attack here, deals physical damage to all enemies. For each critical hit, Juhani recovers 10% health and protection. If Juhani is stealthed when this ability is used, stagger each enemy for 2 turns. So, again, you know, with a Revan squad, this could be a pretty sweet bonus here. You know, one of the problems that we have, though, is that everybody who's running Revan is also running Kenobi, right? And Kenobi gives everybody critical hit immunity. So she's not going to do too many critical hits against another Revan squad to gain that health and protection. Am I right?
One more time, sorry?
What I'm saying is that Kenobi provides critical hit immunity.
Yes.
So
I'm with you.
So basically, because of his critical hit immunity, she's not going, you know, because if you're facing like Revan versus Revan and you're running Juhani, you're not going to get a lot of that 10% health protection bonus because, you know, again, you're not going to crit that many times against another Revan team.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's you know, at first glance it looks like you know, she'd plug in great to a Revan squad, but yeah, that's definitely the case. I think it's a really good point though for a new player to get to have a tank. I have seen her working at 4 stars, and she's not super tanky, but she's tanky enough if you're on a, you know, on a shard that's a year old and you happen to have Revan. She's gonna fit in there well, you know, on a shard where you don't have GK in your roster yet.
Okay. Well, it looks like Maurice is still having a lot of technical difficulties, so it may just be me and TMoney tonight. So TMoney's gonna have to step up her game big time. Okay, and be the co-host. So we're on the same page here. I mean, I think she's got, you know, a lot of benefits to her. I think she's a great character. It's one of those things where I believe overall you're probably right in saying that, you know, Kenobi's the best option for a tank still for the Jedi team at the moment. Okay, with this Zeta, when Juhani drops below 100% health, she recovers 5% of protection for each active Jedi or Old Republic ally, then gains offense up and health steal up for 2 turns. I don't know about that, Zeta. It's okay. Juhani recovers 20% of her max health at the beginning of each of her turns. While taunting, Juhani has plus 35% critical chance or counter chance. When Juhani drops below 100% health, she recovers. Okay. I mean, that's a pretty good, unique ability. Don't get me wrong. The 20% max health at the beginning of each turn is pretty good. So, I mean, so let's say you have a full Jedi team. You're going to gain 20% health at the start of the turn, plus 20% health. Well, actually, you're going to include yourself. It doesn't say for each other active Jedi, so that includes herself. So that'd be 25%. So you're going to gain 45% health at the start of that turn if you go below 100% health. That makes sense. That's pretty good. Again, you know, I just feel like... Oh, sorry, protection, not health. You're going to gain 45% protection. So that should keep her survivability up. It depends on how much health and protection she has at max level. But again, I think she's a great character. I think she'll add a lot of value. But I think, again, you know, Kenobi's probably the best option. I'm going to level her up here in a little bit, and we'll try her out a little bit in Galactic War. But let's get into Carth Onasi. Now, I haven't done the event for Carth yet, so I'm actually going to dive in and do that first. But just want to kind of go over his kit a little bit. Now, he's got the Old Republic tag, obviously not being a Jedi. He's not going to gain any of those bonuses. Not really a great addition to a Revan squad. But he doesn't even have a Scoundrel tag, so he's just really going to be only within an Old Republic synergy. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict damage over time for 2 turns. This attack deals 10% more damage for each damage over time on that enemy. So he's somebody who's going to probably work well with Canderous Ordo. Let's see here. Now his second attack, his special, is deal physical damage to all enemies and gain offense up for 2 turns for each critical hit this attack scores. Carth gains 15% turn meter. So he could possibly go again. No. 30, 60, 75. So you could gain 75% turn meter if he crits on all 5 characters. He has a leader ability for Old Republic, which is actually pretty cool. Old Republic allies gain 30% potency, tenacity, critical avoidance. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with damage over time effect, all Old Republic allies recover 3% health and protection. When an Old Republic ally uses their basic ability during their turn, they have an 80% chance to call another Old Republic ally to assist, dealing 50% less damage. Okay, so that's actually pretty interesting. So, I mean, if you're running, let's say, Zalbar and Mission, that means you could possibly call in Mission for the assist, and then she could also possibly call in Zalbar for the assist.
Yeah, the other way around. So Zalbar could be called in, and then she would assist Zalbar.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah. And so much dot synergy and also Juhani and Zalbar together. The cool thing about her unique is that when she goes below 100% health, she loses her taunt and goes into stealth. And then Zalbar, when anybody goes below 100% health, he will auto taunt. So I think that this could be a really neat, with your idea of like Carth, Mission, and Zalbar, and then Canderous, and then Juhani together. You kind of have it's going to be. I think on defense and territory wars, it could be beatable because you could plan out what you're gonna use against them. But I don't think that the AI will be able to really know what to do if Juhani and Zalbar are passing taunt back and forth to each other. I think that'll be pretty. I think it'll be a good offense squad in territory wars.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and this actually gives you, with these characters, like a way to actually utilize Zalbar and Mission Vow a little bit, right? So, I mean, now, if you run Juhani, you run Carth, let's say Carth Leader, and you run, you run Canderous Ordo, you can run Zalbar and Mission there too, and now really have like a pretty sick Old Republic squad. I mean, I think that Dark Bastila really fits more into a Sith squad than an Old Republic team. But I think that if you utilize those 5 characters there, obviously you could still mix in a couple other characters. I mean, you could still try and use like maybe Revan. I mean, if not, obviously you're not going to do that if you're doing it in TW because you're going to use him for the Jedi. But what I'm saying is, if you're talking about just a fun team, you could possibly utilize Revan as a support character too. But I think that a fun team sounds like Carth lead with Juhani, Canderous Ordo, Mission Vow, and Zalbar. And that could be actually a pretty interesting TW team. Now, let's take a look here at the unique ability, which is while attacking, Carth gains 10% offense for each active enemy and Old Republic ally. So if he has, let's say at the beginning of the match, Carth has 100% increased damage. When Carth defeats an enemy, he gains 10% critical chance and critical damage stacking, and the cooldown of just keep shooting is reset. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so, I mean, that's actually pretty interesting, unique. Again, he gets critical damage and critical chance stacking. He gets it, but the problem is, again, majority of these teams that you're facing in Arena, this is not going to be for Arena right now, because majority of teams running Kenobi are just passing along critical damage immunity. So it's going to be kind of difficult to critical hit anybody with that up. But, I mean, again, it's one of those things where you're not going to necessarily be facing, General Kenobi in TW. You could be facing First Order teams. You could be facing Night Sister teams. You could be facing all different kinds of squads. And that could be a place where these Old Republic characters really, really shine.
And anytime I see an ability where there's critical damage stacking and there's no limit on that, it screams use in the raid. You know, there's only so many characters that, you know, as Ezra has a cap on his damage, Ventress doesn't have a cap on her you know, stacking offense. So it's an interesting calling to have this character being used in one of the raids. Now with the dots, they're not going to be sticking in the Sith raid. You know, I don't think that his potency is going to really make a super difference. Mission and Zalbar do have that ability to have their potency stacking until they land a dot, but I don't know about that. But maybe the tank raid.
Yeah,
a nice, easy team to solo the tank raid with. Perhaps this is it.
Possibly, yes. Let me just this and
Good old Maurice has a storm that has knocked out his internet.
So it's out entirely.
It looks like it. He says, I think it's out. So he's on the phone with the internet company right now.
Okay. I'm just sending out some, because normally Maurice sends out the link to the Alliance and to my my Discord, so I'm just sending that out here. Okay. Paste that. Okay, so basically we have a lot more stuff to discuss. Now the next thing I want to talk about, besides Carth and Juhani, is the recent post by SB Crumb on the forums about the new upcoming character. So obviously we all know now, or most of us know anyway, that C-3PO is coming to the game, and you know, as I discussed on last week's live show, I've already started working on my Ewoks a little bit here to see if I can get them prepared for the event. Now, I'm still a little behind the 8 ball. I have a Gear 11 Wicket now, my Ewok Scouts Gear 11, my Ewok Elders Gear 10, Chirpa's only Gear 9 with one piece away from Gear 10. I think I'm going to roll with Wicket, Chirpa, Ewok Scout, Ewok Elder, and either Paplu or Logray. I'm kind of feeling like Logray might be the better option. What are your thoughts, T? I mean, of the Ewoks, I mean, what do you think are the best 5 to go with?
Well, I'm sacrificing chickens in my backyard, hoping that it's not Ewoks that we need for this event, because mine are terrible. My Ewoks are absolutely terrible. Tebow I have to Gear 9, you know, way back for the rank 4 raid. Ewok Elder to 10, but my Wicket is, you know, 5 stars, just 5 stars. My Chirpa's not 7 stars, so I will definitely struggle to get C-3PO at 5 stars. I think they'll offer him at 5 stars. I don't think this will be a 7-star character. I will struggle to get him even at 5 stars. However, it's not necessarily a legendary, and it's not necessarily Ewoks. When they had Chewie coming to the game, they had Rolo as a login character, and she was on the defending side of the match. So it's possible that it could be C-3PO and the Ewoks defending, and then someone else on the other side, maybe Jawas, which I'm still screwed for. Maybe Imperial troopers, you know, like super buffed Imperial troopers, like we had to have our bounty hunters, maybe even more so.
You see, I think if it is...
My fingers are crossed for that.
If it is Jawas, okay, I feel like it would probably be in the desert, okay, because the only time C-3PO had an interaction with Jawas was when him and R2-D2 were purchased by the Skywalkers, right? And... if it's Ewoks... There's
no Ewoks there.
No, there's no Ewoks there. So
yeah,
if it's Ewoks, it's going to be on Endor. Now, I do think he kind of fits in line more with the Ewoks, and I do think that because of the whole, you know, him being a god to the Ewoks thing, and all that stuff. I think that there's more of a storyline there. And the fact that Ewok Scout is the legendary, I mean, is the character of the month, I think is kind of a hint too. I mean, again, you know, you could be right. It could just be against Ewoks, but that would mean that I would think it would have to be probably Rebels fighting against Ewoks. I don't think Jawas are going to Endor to fight Ewoks. I think it's going to be, if anything, Rebels or Ewoks, and we've already had Rebels, so I don't think that they're going to use the Rebels again as a faction for a legendary event. But you're right, it could also not be a legendary event. It may just be something else. I mean, you know, he may be a character as a reward for the Grand Arena, for all we know. You know?
Absolutely. Or we could be getting a new... I mean, I think that often I use my guild as kind of a benchmark for when new things are coming. So when we conquer something, usually something new is on the way, and you know, we will probably get our dark side territory battles at 48 stars. Maybe not this one, maybe the next one. So that's you know, maybe it's an Endor territory battle. Right. Or yeah, a reward for Grand Arena. But I'm just, like I said, it's probably the Ewoks. I'm just hoping and maybe praying a little bit that it's not, because I have never missed getting a legendary before. I did get Thrawn at 5 stars. I usually get them at 7 stars, but yeah, it will break my heart if I miss it altogether. And there's no amount of whaling that's going to get me close right now, even. So they're all hard nodes and 2 Cantina nodes at a time. It's just it's too much. I won't be able to make it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping that it is Ewoks, because I've already kind of thrown my eggs in that basket. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if it isn't, I'm not really going to be that upset, because ultimately there is still that Endor escalation event, which you can get Zetas from every week. Or not every week, I mean, but whenever it returns. And I feel like that's a good enough reason to have decent Ewoks. But also, I mean, I've always kind of wanted an Ewok team to be for, like, territory wars. I feel like they have probably one of the better synergies in the game, even though they're not really hard-hitting characters. I think that there's a lot of value to that. And I like Wicket. Now that I have him at 7 stars, I mean, I wanted him to be leveled up anyway. So, you know, again, it's one of those things where this is just kind of an excuse to gear them up. And, you know, hopefully it works out. Hopefully I made the right choice. If it ends up being Jawas, I'm definitely screwed. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, ultimately, I'll adjust accordingly. And, you know, the reason I'm really into it is because I think that C-3PO is going to be very important for Jedi Luke whenever that comes. And I think he's going to be one of the 5 you need for that Hero's Journey event when Jedi Luke's Hero's Journey comes. And that'll probably be sometime, I think, in probably 2nd quarter next year, maybe 3rd quarter next year. I think it'll be before the movie comes out. Because I think there's going to be a lot of Episode 9 stuff. I think they're going to really start ramping up for Episode 9 because, again, there's a lot of stuff that happened after The Last Jedi that caused people to be kind of upset about the Star Wars franchise. I mean, people were not thrilled about that movie overall. There were a lot of people that didn't like it. There were a lot of people that did like it, but I'm saying there were a lot of people that didn't like it also. And there's also a lot of people that kind of got upset about Solo. So 2 times in a row, people kind of you know, didn't really react too well to the movie. I personally liked Solo. I thought it was okay. It was what I expected. I didn't think it was like a riveting movie or anything by any standards, but I think it was definitely, like, it was what I expected. I didn't expect to... I mean, you know, whenever you're making a movie about a character that you know the fate of at the end of the movie, it's always going to be a little bit... you know, it's always going to be a little bit ordinary because you're not... You know, there's no shocker that's going to happen at the end. You know Han Solo and Chewie survive. You know, and there's nobody that they really built up in that movie character-wise that I was so attached to that passed away either. And I don't know, I mean, I liked... Beckett. I mean, Beckett was a good character. I mean, Woody Harrelson did a good job. It was okay. Again, it was a good movie. Just not like it was a fun movie, you know, but not something that I would say is my favorite or anything. I like Rogue One a lot better than that movie. But honestly, because of some of the stain on the last two films from a lot of the fan base, I think that they're going to be doing a lot of promotion of the new movie before it comes out. They're not going to want it to flop or do poorly because of what happened during The Last Jedi or during Solo. And I think they kind of didn't make the money they were expecting to make from Solo. So I think that the advertising campaign for Episode 9 is going to start much earlier next year than a typical year when we get a trilogy movie. So what I think is going to happen is starting the summertime towards the fall, we're probably already going to, I'd say by the fall at least, you know, beginning of the fall, we're going to start to get like possibly advertising in this game already for that movie. They'll probably start releasing some stuff like events in the game or something. I mean, I think that they'll definitely start promotion of that, possibly in Battlefront as well, a few months before the game comes out. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, so what ended up happening was Crumb actually released a puzzle for everybody to solve at the end of last week. When was it, on Friday or Thursday?
Oh goodness, I don't know actually. I think it might have been Friday. Okay,
so I think on Friday he released a puzzle, and I can't tell you exactly how they came up with the answer. I know that it had something to do with a song, and then there was a picture of his avatar for the forums, or his new profile picture for the forums, and then there was some way to, you know, manipulate the song to create like some sort of a, like so almost like a paint by numbers kind of thing, and they were able to create this picture that actually, if you put together all the pieces of the picture, would show you a picture of C-3PO. This is actually that image of C-3PO, so it's 100% confirmed that C-3PO is coming to the game. That's the answer to the puzzle that CG Crumb put out there the other day. So you know, we definitely are going to be getting a look at that probably over the next few weeks, and probably finding out more information about how this character is going to be released. I'm pretty sure, being that they were talking about OT characters being released within this fiscal quarter, that we're talking about something that's going to start, if the event's not going to start by Christmas time, I think it'll be you know, beginning of January at the latest, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be before Christmas. We're probably looking at about 2 to 3 weeks here, maybe 2 weeks for this guy to come out, and that gives us not much time to get prepared. So for those of you that want to jump on the bandwagon with the Ewoks, I would say that's probably the best bet, so now is the time. But again, you know, there's no guarantees, so that's really just my opinion. Ultimately, I think that you're going to have to, you know, go with your gut and kind of see what makes sense. And maybe wait to hear some word from them first as to how it's going to work out. Because, again, this could be tied to Grand Arena, being that there has already been testing on that. And, you know, they already, you know, have announced that that's going to be coming out in the Road Ahead blog as well. So
we had 9 days between when Chewie was announced, when the puzzle was announced, and when the event dropped. So it's imminent, I think. I think you're right. I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks
and
max.
It's here.
Yeah, 2 weeks max. So, you know, you'll have to just keep your eyes peeled, but, you know, I've noticed that in the past, you know, that you're not really given a lot of time to get prepared for these things, so you're going to have to kind of just go with your gut and what makes the most sense, and take the clues that have been given to you, which they usually always do. I mean, CG's very good about giving you a hint as to what you need to do. I think the Ewok Scout being the character of the month is definitely one of those hints. And I think that you know, you gotta jump on something, you know, rather than sit there and do nothing. So I mean, again, if you want C-3PO and you're at the point where you can make a pivot in your farming situation and work on it, if you don't already have the Ewoks, you should be farming them. If you do have them and they're under geared, you should be gearing them. That's just my opinion. I'm just throwing that out there. But again, you know, I could be wrong. It could just be, you know, a reward character for some event. It could be something else. But either way, you know, I'll be able to get some Zetas out of that Endor escalation event next time that comes around, hopefully. But
Wargle in chat is pointing out that there was well, it said 1214 was the title of the YouTube video of the music. So I don't know if that date has been confirmed, but 1214, December 14th, that makes sense with the timing. That's 2 weeks. So
it makes sense.
Come on, drops. I did all of these drops for, I think it was low grade today. I refreshed the hard node 3 times and I got 1 shard. I was like, no, please, I need the universe on my side for this one. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you actually don't have the shards for the Ewoks.
That's my problem. Yeah, the gear, you know, I can always wail on gear. I could figure that out. I have a lot of gear stored right now because I've put the message out to our guild to hoard. I've got Zetas. I have everything, you know, not everything ready. You know, I have maybe, you know, a couple of Carbontes. You know, I have a couple of everything in the bank, but what I don't have is the stars. So I have Wicket at 5 stars and like 10 out of 85. I have Chief Chirpa, Logray, and Paplu at needing about 80 shards. So really, I mean, that's far away for them being on hard nodes. I even refreshed the guild event or the guild store today a couple of times just to see kind of how often is it Logray in there or Paplu, one of the two is in there, and I got nothing came up for me, so I'm feeling a little desperate right now. So CG's doing their job. It's but yeah, I won't gear anything until that notice comes out that it's going to be the Ewoks, but I need to star them anyway. They're a fantastic faction. We were talking today that they can beat anyone, even Treya. I did not know that they can even beat Treya. I think if you have if you have Tebow with them, maybe you're using Tebow lead. Not completely sure there, but someone today said that you can beat anyone, even Treya, with Ewoks, except for Revan. So that's pretty incredible. You're gonna have God mods, of course, if you're going up against an arena team, but yeah, they're fantastic in territory wars against Kylo Ren Unmasked and so many teams.
1 second. Just sending Maurice a message here. But yeah, no, I think that they're a fantastic faction too. I think there's a lot of value there, even if it's not just, if it ends up not being that, I think there's still a lot of value in the Ewoks. I think they're a fun team, and there's somebody you can use for territory wars, somebody you can use for territory battles. And it's always good to have another light side team that you can run 5 for, and again, you get extra Zetas whenever the Endor escalation event comes around, and they are a team that can beat a lot of teams on offense if you use them correctly. I'm really liking Carth Onasi's area of effect attack. It looks so awesome. He literally just sprays everybody with his pistols back and forth. It's like, check this out. It's like, bang. Yeah, it actually does these, and then if he gets all the crits, he goes again with it. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, he's got some great animations.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's awesome. And when they were talking about companions, that's what I thought. Right? Remember we were talking about companions?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean this is what I thought when they were saying companions. I mean, Miss Carth. So when they released Darkside Bastila and Canderous Ordo, I was kind of surprised at that, but then when they released these 2 characters, it made a lot of sense. Honestly, when I was making my predictions for characters from the Old Republic, because I made we made a top 5 characters from the Old Republic that would be coming to the game, and I didn't think about Juhani. She never crossed my mind. So I mean, that was a pretty nice surprise. I mean, Juhani's a pretty cool character. Didn't cross my mind that Juhani would come into the game, but I thought we'd see a couple other characters first, but Carth was always somebody I expected. Darkside Bastila makes a lot of sense. Candace Ordo was definitely somebody that I expected. But, you know, we still need one more, right, for the Legendary event if they're going to have one. So, do you think it'll be another Old Republic character, or do you think we'll get just like a rework to HK-47 or something like that?
Not sure. I actually just started playing KOTOR, which is an absolutely... I've not played it before, and it's an absolutely amazing game. It's just, you know, to be... It's kind of neat to have been, you know, on the periphery of the story through Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and now kind of moving right into that story and knowing, you know, Mission and Zalbar and all of these characters from this game, and kind of meeting them in here and finding them in there. You know, like Candace Ordo walked by me in the hallway, and I was like, "Hey, I know you." He didn't want to talk to me because I'm going light side on this one, but yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I'm trying to pull up where there's like a... Oh, I know where it is. Where you can switch out your characters, and they have all of the different character silhouettes, and see who we're actually missing of the ones that are in the game, because there's 9, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty awesome. I mean, I've actually re-bought the game, and I bought it on mobile, so I can put it on the I can put it on the emulator, and I can do like some recording of it. I was thinking about making videos about it, but it's actually pretty cool. The port is actually really good, and they have you know, a lot of you know, I mean, it's a great story. I mean, again, you know, just finding out you know, the backstory of Revan and how he came to be and all that stuff. I mean, it's really a great story. So it's a good game, and it still kind of holds up, even though the graphics are kind of low. It's one of those things where, like, I mean, again, you know, it's you know, it's not going to blow you away with graphics. The gameplay is a little bit slow in comparison to like a lot of the games you're playing today. But, you know, if you love Star Wars and you like a good story, and you know the characters from, you know, Galaxy of Heroes, you want to kind of hear or see the backstory to them, it's really a great game, and it's worth a download. I think it's like $10, and you can purchase it in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and then, you know, you have it on your phone or your mobile device, and you can play it pretty easily. The port is actually really good, and it's a lot of fun to play. So I started it again like a week or two ago, and then I haven't really touched it since then. But I am planning on doing some more gameplay, maybe even making a video about it at some point.
I'm stuck in the damn Vulcar base right now. I need to level up and go back and do some more missions, because I just keep dying over and over again. So
it's funny.
But yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a good game. I mean, you know, and for a game back
interesting because
then,
Sorry, I was gonna say it's interesting because you can't whale your way out of it, right? Like, I'm stuck. I'm like, can you just give me a loot box so I can get through this? You know, like it's old school. It's before they kind of figured out how to milk us of all our cash, and so you have to actually put some effort into it and be smart about it and solve all the puzzles instead of just throwing money at something to make it work.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and also, I mean, it's for a game that's in that time period to have that good of a story. I mean, even the sequel has a great story too. Sith Lords with Traya. I mean, the character Kreia, and then when she becomes Traya, you know, she's so manipulative in that game, and like what she says sounds like. I mean, she really convinces you a little bit of like the other side of the Force. Like, you know, if you listen to, you know, the way she explains, you know, her purpose and reasoning for going to the dark side, it actually makes a lot of sense. And, you know, she just basically doesn't see eye to eye with the views of the Jedi, you know, but she offers some good reasoning, and she's very manipulative to the other characters. She's a great character. But also, I mean, if you think about just games in general, and the fact that, like, back then you were able to control your own destiny in this game. I mean, you know, the way you play Knights of the Old Republic, basically, that actually changes the outcome of the ending of the story for you. So there's so many different ways this story can go based upon how you interact with the characters. Whether you end up being like a light side character or a dark side character, you can end up going either way, right? So it's pretty cool in that regard.
I've finally found the character selection box. It's I think the only one that we haven't had introduced is HK47. You know, of the companions that you can run around with. So maybe you're right. Maybe it's an HK rework, and then we'll need him to be to do whatever legendary it is. And again, I mean, who knows if it's going to be a legendary? They love to throw curveballs at us, but I think it's probably going to be.
I think it's going to be a legendary for sure. One second. I think it's going to be a legendary. I just think it's going to be. I think it's going to be hard. That's the problem. I don't think it's going to be just Ewoks. I think it's going to be Ewoks Gear 12 minimum. You know, and probably you'll need one of them that'll make it. You'll probably need the two most recent ones too to really. I mean, you'll probably need Paplu and Logray to really get it done. So that's the trick about it, I think. I mean, you know, whenever they introduce something like this, you know, it's characters that have been out for a long time, they typically make it harder too. So it's not just going to be obtaining the characters; it's going to be getting them to a high gear level also. So. I mean, that's just my thought process behind it. Again, you know, I could be wrong about it being Ewoks entirely. I have a feeling that that's where they're going. But, you know, we'll have to see. So, yeah, I see your screenshot here, Carth and Mission and Big Z. Yeah,
that's all I have right now.
It's awesome. Yeah, send Maurice a DM and see if he can jump on his phone and at least jump on the voice. But
sure.
We're gonna go into the meta report here and we'll kind of discuss some changes there. Really not much, but let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so. What we have here is the meta report from last week. And pretty standard stuff. Again, you know, Revan was dominating the pie. Traya, you know, it's really just a Revan and Traya meta right now. Anybody who didn't get Revan is running Traya. I think if Revan was more widely gotten, if he wasn't, you know, behind the paywall like he was, I think this whole pie would be Revan right now. But, you know, it's mostly... Traya as the best counter to Revan, and people running Darkside Bastila, you know, in that Traya squad now to kind of counter that Revan team. And she works. I mean, she works great. So a lot of people using her. Let's move on to this week's meta report. And what we have here is a little bit of a difference. Okay, so actually more people using Traya now than last week, and less Revans being used. Okay, so less Revan, more Traya, and I think that's again because more people have gotten Darkside Bastila leveled up a little bit, and we're seeing Grand Admiral Thrawn creep into the bottom of the list. Again, there's only 4 people, so that's not huge. But the pie is getting smaller for all the other characters. Again, we're only seeing a little bit of Emperor Palpatine after Traya. I would say about 5%. And then after that, it gets to about, I mean, I'd say 7% for the rest of the characters available. So CLS, then Darth Maul, Mother Talzin, Bastila. Rey Jedi Training is only seeing 22 leaders at rank 1. Asajj Ventress is seeing 6. And then Grand Admiral Thrawn is seeing 4. So, you know, after CLS, which is 109, I mean, you're only seeing 83 Darth Mauls after that. And then this 58 Mother Talzins taking rank 1 out there. So, you know, it's really pretty much a Revan and Traya dominated meta right now, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I mean, is that really what you're seeing in your shard right now? Mostly just Revan and Traya?
Mostly Revan and Treya, and like every single one of those other counters, save Commander Luke, unless people are figuring out how to take Revan down with Commander Luke Skywalker. Darth Maul, Mother Talzin, certainly, Rey Jedi Training, Asajj Ventress. Those are all all counters to Revan. So I run a lot, even though I have Revan, I'm running Mother Talzin lead all of the time just so I can practice. And a lot of people in my guild do the same. And then the rest of them, Palpatine, Skywalker, and Thrawn Magma, Bastila to an extent can be seen as Treya counters. So it's really you're looking at the two main squads and then squads that are countering them. Whether people are running those because they don't have Revan or Treya, or they're running them because their territory war fiends like me and want to practice all of the time with non-Revan and non-Treya squads, then who knows, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of connection there.
Right. And Warcall's asking how Thrawn has taken #1 in any arena. The reason for that is, bear in mind that not every arena is an old shard. I mean, there's arenas that get made all the time, new shards that get created, when new players join, and there are some people that just got their Grand Admiral Thrawn, and those shards, it may be dominated by, a few Emperor Palpatines and Grand Admiral Thrawn. There are shards out there where there's not a single Treya, or a single Palpatine, or a single Revan, and it's just mainly dominated by, early game content like the Phoenix characters and Rebels and Jedi. So yeah, I could see Grand Admiral Thrawn peeking up there. I bet you there's somebody taking rank 1 out there right now with a Qui-Gon Jinn. Somebody's doing it.
Is back in voice.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good old Maurice is on the streets.
Yes, the streets without Wi-Fi.
It's okay. It's okay. We've all had those days. Remember that time my stream completely cut off altogether because the power on my block went out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it happens. It happens. Sometimes you have storms. Sometimes you don't pay your cable bill. It's one of those things. But I'm glad that you're able to join us in some capacity here, because I think people were clamoring for some good old Maurice, and we're glad to have you with us.
Well, thanks. Glad to be here an hour late.
It's okay. An hour late is better than not at all. But we're just doing the meta report right now, and I'm in the middle of the rank 1 leaders. I mean, not much changed, just more Treya and actually less Revan. But we're moving on now to the top 10 squad members at rank 1, and this was last week's with, again, you're not going to see much change in the top 9, I think, except for an increase here to Jolie Bindo's use, but look at Bastila. So Bastila right now on this one is being used. Bastila Fallen is 586. On the new meta report, she's at 663. So almost 100 more Bastila Shans being used at rank 1. So there's more people switching to that Treya Bastila Shan Fallen meta to kind of counter the Revan teams. And if you see here, Jolie Bindo has moved up past General Kenobi to number 3, behind Grandmaster Yoda and Jedi Knight Revan as the top 10 squad member. So Jolie Bindo is number 3 in the world right now, the number 3 most used character. And I bet you a lot of you guys weren't thinking that was going to happen when Jolie Bindo dropped in the marquee store. But here we are. So, what are your thoughts about the addition of all these extra Bastila Shan Fallens, Maurice? I mean, are you seeing more Treya teams being used now? People switching back to Treya, or people, running Bastila Shan Fallen to kind of counter that?
No, it's all Revan in my shard. There is a couple Treyas left. One of the guys uses the Darth Maul lead, and one of the guys just uses a well-modded traditional Traya team. I think he uses Thrawn and Nest. There are no Basilishaws on my server.
Okay. And what about you, T? I mean, are you seeing any Basilishawn fallen on your server?
Definitely, there's yes, definitely Basilishawn Fallen is alive and well on my server. We have, my shard, I don't know how many people there are, and maybe 15, 20 folks, and now everyone who didn't get Revan now has Traya, and with Basilishawn Fallen, that's what they're running, and there's not a lot of the alternative squads there, other than people practicing for territory wars. Those are their bread and butter squads with the Triumvirate, Thrawn, and Basilishawn Fallen together.
I'm seeing mostly Revan and Traya with Nest, but besides that, there are like one or two, maybe three Basilishawn Fallen squads in the arena, on my arena, but I do have a day one shard, so I mean the majority of the top 20 is all Revan.
Well, that being said, I don't know. They may climb with Bastila and take her out on defense. I mean, there's a strong possibility there, for sure. Because if there's a guy in my payout, two guys in my payout, that climb with Traya, and they get there every day, so that they might be using her on the climb, maybe.
Using her on the climb and then switching it out on defense? Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, maybe. It's definitely not a team you want to leave in overnight.
No, because Bastila just sits there and does nothing. She just sits there and gives Traya a nice little boost, and then misses everything because there's tenacity up, and then just sits there and sits there some more.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, I mean, she's a decent addition to that squad. She definitely makes them better on offense, anyway, like you said, and we'll see. I mean, I don't foresee the meta really shifting much, even with the release of C-3PO. Even though he may add some different synergies, again, he's going to help. He's going to help the droids. He's going to probably help the rebels. He's going to help. He's part of the resistance too, right? So he's going to help the resistance. So he's going to be a resistance rebel droid. So he's going to have some synergies there, and if he's legendary, he's going to definitely have some bonuses, because I don't see C-3PO attacking much. I think he's probably just going to be passing bonuses off, kind of like Hermit Yoda does, so I think it'll be a situation like that.
I could see him being very similar, like in that ground event, that assault battle that takes, prior to Revan, takes about 30 minutes to complete the final tier, where that's Super Grievous. I could see him being kind of like that, where like he just goes stealth and gives a bunch of buffs to the team. Like there's like 3 little droids in there, just constantly go stealth and constantly give everybody all sorts of buffs. So I could see him doing something like that.
For sure.
We'll see. I like support characters like that, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he may be a buff. No, they're never going to add anything to the game that makes you not need mods. That's a good source of income.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but that's the meta report for this week. We're going to move on now to our top 5 for this week. And this week, we're going to be doing top 5 legendary characters. Okay, so what this entails here, because I really didn't want to say top 5 legendary / hero's journey / raid reward characters, is this entails any character that has a minimum unlock of 5 stars. Okay, so basically any character that unlocks at 5 stars and up could be on this list. So a raid reward character, a hero's journey character, or a legendary character. So any of those 3 options could be on this list. And, we've had quite a few. We've had, many legendary / hero's journey raid reward characters now to this point. And quite frankly, right now in the meta, there's a few that, that stick out. So that's what we're going to go over first here. So at number 5 here, Maurice, who do we have here?
CLS is coming in at number 5. Good old CLS. I think he makes the list somehow every single week. I mean, he is one of the relatively easier ones to obtain. A lot of the characters you need are characters that, you know, I'm an older player, but I did get a chance to play like a new account, and when you start a new account now, it just hands you Farm Boy Luke and especially Princess Leia shards. It just gives you tons and tons of them, kind of steers you in the right direction as to where to go for him. So he is one of the easier ones to obtain. Just a great all-around character, probably the best Rebel lead still. Phenomenal raid character. Every raid includes some CLS team. I mean, you can solo the first 2 raids, the Rancor and the tank with him. He's pretty good for P3 if you still run the Chex Mix teams. Just all sorts of greatness.
Stream just popped out, and I think it's back now.
Okay, yeah, it's up again, but I don't know what happened.
I'm bringing the bad internet with me.
You might need to
no, it's good.
watch cut off. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the numbers are good right now, so we're okay. I saw it kind of get down there a little bit. I don't know what happened, but we should be all right. Somebody must have done something. But anyway, yeah, I mean, CLS is definitely a character that seems to always make the list. And that's kind of why he's on this list, because, you know, he's such a utility character. I mean, he's available from, you know, I'd say one of the more easily available characters besides maybe, you know, Yoda and, you know, possibly, I mean, even Thrawn now is one of the easier characters to get if you think about it. But yeah, I mean, you need some specific characters to get CLS, but he's one of the easier characters. He's the easiest legendary character to get anyway, and I'm sorry, Hero's Journey character to get anyway, and he's got great synergy with all of the rebels. So I mean, he makes the rebel faction better in every way. He's a great leader. He's a great addition to any squad. He stuns with his basic, reduces turn meter. He can go ahead and you know, basically be either an offensive moded character or a defensive moded character based on what you need at the time. And he gives counter to everybody on his team. So I mean, as a leader, he's great as well. So I mean, he's really just an all around fantastic character. What do you think about CLS, TMoney?
Oh, my CLS has been neglected a bit. I kind of jumped over that meta. I geared him. He's gear 12, but it wasn't until Chewie came into the picture that I've been looking at his Zetas, and I have almost 4 built up right now, and I may do It Binds All Things. I'm pretty much the only person in the entire game with CLS at gear 12 without the It Binds All Things Zeta. So, you know, he really deserves a little bit of love, and I am hesitant to use him against a strong team on Territory Wars, regardless how I mod them, because that Zeta is quite key to just, you know, inching along the turn meter of the team. So I you know, but he's great. He's great as a leader. He's great as support. He's great all on his own. You know, for the Rancor, he's a very, very, very versatile character, and you know, great attacker, turn meter manipulation. It, you know, doesn't get much better than CLS. Well, I guess it gets 4 better than CLS, but
yeah.
we'll see who the rest is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's our number 5 legendary character / Hero's Journey / raid character in the game. Moving along to our number 4 legendary character in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, we have General Kenobi. Okay, so General Kenobi comes to us via the AAT tank raid, and he was the raid reward character there. So for those of us that first got a glimpse of him, you know, through the Game Changer videos when we were able to release them a couple years ago, as we released the information about the AAT raid. You know, he was a very, very wanted character, and we had to wait, you know, quite some time to get him. Now, That was also when they normalized the rewards for the raid, so that everybody, even the last person on the totem pole, would get some shards for the character, which was actually very different in the Rancor raid. So if you weren't finishing at a high rank in the Rancor raid, you weren't getting Han Solo shards. That's right? Was it less? I forget how it was. Everybody got the same amount.
Right, yeah. It's, I think everybody, you place in the top 20. I think it's like the Sith raid. If you place in the top 20, you get a few more. Everybody below that gets the same amount.
Right, but besides that, it was like, before that, it was like if you, I think with the Rancor raid, if you finished like in 50th, you got like 3 Han Solo shards or 2 or something, it was like a lower amount.
1. It's a very, very, it's awful. I'll go check, but yeah.
I think it's 1 at rank 50 or something, So yeah, I mean, they normalized it so that everybody would kind of get Kenobi at the same time, even if they, unless you finished in the top 20, you were able to get him faster. But this way, you didn't have to fall behind and take a whole year to get the character. So the big thing about Kenobi was when you did unlock him, you had to have about 1,000 Carbantes to get him ready to go. How many was it? Was it Carbantes or stun cuffs?
Carbantes.
I think it was like you needed like 8 Carbantes. I forget. I think it was 10 or 8.
A lot. Yeah. I think it was maybe 450.
It's one of the harder characters to gear in the game. And
500
Carbantes. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the hardest characters to gear in the game, but man, was he worth it. I mean, again, he provided all the utility for the Jedi and really for any team. I mean, he's been a staple in whether it's a Rebel team, a Jedi team, a Sith team. I mean, any team that you want to use and you need a tank in, I mean, Kenobi has been the answer. I mean, he cleanses your team. He calls everybody in for assist. He doesn't do a ton of damage with his basic, but he has a passive taunt. So anytime you critically hit somebody on the team, he gains taunt and then gives critical hit immunity. So, I mean, he's just a fantastic all-around character. Somebody that's very difficult to contend with because, again, the taunt can go up at any time. And he's somebody that, really also can provide a lot of offensive boost because of his ability to, just basically one-shot a character if that whole team is buffed and you call in everybody for assist. I mean, he can just basically take a character out. And he's got a lot of protection, viability, and he's great in a Revan squad right now. So, I mean, overall, he's definitely, I'd probably say, still, if not the best, top 2 or top 3 tank in the game. But that's our number 4 legendary character. I mean, you guys have anything else to add about him?
Nope, just the ultimate plug-and-play tank. I mean, just goes any team. You can slot him in. I mean, people use him on Sith teams, So, I mean, he is a plug-and-play tank, the best in the game, the best the game has to offer.
We're seeing a bit of his demise, at the tail end of the Traya meta before Revan came, and it was, it's nice to see him back in arena, and he's timeless. He's one of the cornerstone characters of the franchise, and he should be, I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad that he hasn't gone by the wayside.
Bananas. I mean, I'll tell you, when we first got to test him in California, I was like beside myself. I was so excited for this character. I mean, he was like, so awesome, and like, the mechanics that he had, we hadn't seen anything like that yet at this point. So, there was nobody that did the things that he did. It was clear that he was going to be a meta character right away and somebody that lasted for a long time. And kind of like Rex has constantly been that constant that counters everything and stays in the meta somehow throughout time. Kenobi has also kind of withstood the test of time as well, and he's back in the meta again now. So it's good to see him here, yeah, for sure. But moving along to our number 3 legendary / hero's journey / raid reward character. Who do we have here, Maurice?
This is going to be Traya. Traya is number 3, and this is obviously the reward from the Heroic Sith raid. 3-4 months ago, no one would have ever expected her to be anything other than, 1 on any list, but she is number 3. Just the ultimate Sith centerpiece. I mean, you almost have to have her to run a top shelf Sith team nowadays. She's way better than Palpatine in the leader slot for the most part. For most cases, just the dispel that is every time a Sith just takes their turn, they shed all the debuffs. That includes ability block, stun. There's no way to really debuff the Sith characters without Plague, which eliminates, you know, over half of the characters in the game in terms of a counter. Just you can't debuff them. Just a great leadership ability. You got Isolate, arguably the best move in the game. One of them, top 3 probably ability in the entire game. The Isolate move. Just their sabers can do massive damage. She's still a part of the meta. We talked about her in the meta report. What people had to adjust their teams a little bit, maybe remod, but still a key piece in the arena meta.
I mean, they had to basically create another broken character for her to be trumped in the meta in any way. I mean, like, you know, and that's something we discussed last show also, is like, I mean, they've been made these characters so OP now that, I mean, I don't know how they're going to get back from this. You know, they're gonna have to go further and further down the rabbit's hole here with character abilities in order to counter Revan at some point, whenever that comes. But that's how it is. I mean, you know, she has a unique ability that is just insane. I mean, she takes health away from you, you know, every time somebody dispels an ability on her, and you cannot use any negative status effects are absolutely worthless. You can't stun somebody, can't ability block anybody, can't do anything. Okay, so she just removes those from her allies, and then they basically steal health from you when that happens, or take damage. They give you damage when that happens, and then, I mean, she has a devastating saber attack that can do a ton of damage and take out a character, and she has a new debuff that she brings into the game with Isolate, and kind of renders characters like General Kenobi, for example, or like Hermit Yoda completely useless because they can't spread buffs or cleanse anybody. You know, so she basically can lock a character down entirely for a whole match. And overall, I mean, she's just you know, a good damage dealer, a great leader, and absolutely a super meta character. And, you know, you can see why when you look at the meta report and see that she's still the second most used character in the game. And she comes courtesy of the Sith raid, which is still a pretty hard raid for a lot of people. So some people are still, you know, either just getting to unlock Traya or still haven't gotten her to 7 stars yet. So as people work her up, you know, she'll continue to see value, and I don't think we're going to see her slip completely out of the meta for a long time. What are your thoughts, T?
It's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. She's, you know, again, I'm such a Territory Wars fiend, and right now the strategy is all around her. You know, it's, you know, Revan, of course, but really you have 2 choices with Revan. You know, do you put him on the board or do you take him off the board? And with her, you know, that's what the next couple of months of Territory Wars is going to be. Is it's going to be all about, you know, these teams that are not Revan, Traya, CLS, Bastila, all the you know, the teams that can beat the meta, but you know, where are they going to go on the board in Territory Wars? And she, you know, she'll certainly be timeless, and Darkside Bastila has, you know, brought her back into favor again, and you never know what else we're going to get. If we do indeed get, you know, Sithy February, then Darth Revan, you know, who's going to go with Darth Revan? Well, probably Traya, you know, yeah. Either in the back, or, you know, if he's, you know, supporting her, or he's the lead for the Triumvirate and Darkside Bastila. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, a meta that involves him and any other Sith other than her. So it's, you know, we kind of, those who are just getting her unlocked now, it's maybe a little bit disappointing that you're not going to be able to dominate your arena shard with her, but I think that her time will come again, where it will be a massive headache to try and beat a Traya team. Revan team at that point.
Yeah, I think that I think it'll definitely be trouble, and I mean, yeah, she's definitely gonna be part of whatever Sith meta comes back around at some point down the road. And if they do have a Knights of the Old Republic character in February again, I'm kind of leaning towards it being Malak. I think we're gonna get Revan eventually, but I think Sith Malak is probably gonna be first, and he may be the fifth component for that Darth Revan character eventually at some point. So we'll see, but. You know, I think to get Revan, I think next time it's going to be, you know, Darkside Bastila. I think it's going to be Malak, possibly Treya. You know, a couple other characters. I think it'll be, you know, a few Darkside characters, maybe a few Sith altogether to get Revan at some point down the road. So she could be a part of it, but either way, she'll definitely be a part of the arena team whenever that comes around for sure. But let's move on to our number 2 legendary character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Who do we have here, Maurice?
Well, that's going to be Mr. Grand Admiral Thrawn. I was tempted to put him on, but I didn't. He is the ultimate plug-and-play character in the entire game. You can use him every squad. He's a fantastic raid character. Just mandatory for territory wars, just to counter to so much. Fracture, much like Isolate, is one of the best abilities in the game. Just completely neutralizes a character, and if you do put that Zeta on him and use Empire characters, he will maintain that fracture for a long time. Decent damage countering when he's got an opponent fractured. Turn meter and protection swap. If you put him in the leadership, he just gives the entire team, all the Empire units, an extra ability that cleanses them. That is one thing the Empire faction lacks, is a cleanse, and Thrawn provides that for everyone if he is the lead. Like the fleet commander, you know, he's coming right back into the shit meta as the fleet commander. At least in my shard, Tarkin's fallen way off. Everyone's using Thrawn to kind of get rid of these 6- and 7-star Houndstooth that everybody has now. So he's a great option for your fleet commander. Just second best, you know, legendary-ish character we have in the game.
What do you think, TMoney?
I agree. You know, I was just trying to think. He's the only legendary that does have a ship. Period. Right? Is it a ship? Like cruise ship or capital ship? I think he's the only one.
As of right now, yeah. I mean, eventually Han, but.
That was just it's huge utility, you know, to be able to use a character in 2 places. So, yeah, he's great. He's fantastic. He is one of those characters on our show. We had a list of characters who were like plug and play, timeless characters, and he was in the top tier of that. Yeah, you know, you can drop him into literally any squad, and his turn meter manipulation, his fracture. I mean, what other buff other than Isolate is that clutch? I mean, it's probably better than Isolate in a lot of ways, even though it doesn't last as long because it just completely knocks out a character altogether. So yeah, he's fantastic. I agree. He belongs in number 2 slot.
Yeah, he's a fantastic character. I mean, you know, the fracture is just OP. And, I mean, the reason he's sitting at number 2 is because I definitely wouldn't allow Maurice to put him number 1 2 times in a row. He was number 1 in the top 5 overall characters, but I think that there's a good reason for him to be in the top 5. There's good reason for him to be there. He's really interchangeable, whether he's number 1 or number 2. He's such a great character, to be honest with you, that you could put him in either slot. And he's got, you know, so much benefit. I mean, he can dispel an ally and give them 100% turn meter. So basically, you could choose anybody you want to go next. And if they have ability block or something like that, he could take it off of them. So he can kind of help, you know, cleanse that ally and then give them protection as well. He also, you know, he counterattacks. I mean, he's just just a fantastic character and really an essential character in this game for a lot of game modes. So again, even though even though he may not necessarily be a meta arena character right now, unless you're running maybe him as a 5th in a Treya team, he's got so much utility in territory wars, territory battles, and whenever the Empire sees its day again, I mean, he'll definitely be a part of that squad no matter what, because he just offers so much utility. And again, just a great character overall. But moving along to our number 1 legendary character in the game. This is going to come to no surprise here. I mean, if Grand Admiral Thrawn is number 2, then number 1 must be Jedi Knight Revan. So, again, Jedi Knight Revan is such an awesome character. I mean, he was the most recent legendary character, came right after Chewbacca. He's got such an awesome kit with the ability to basically create his own taunt on any character that he wants. He can area of effect attack an entire squad with decent damage, and then also give that 100% turn meter to a chosen ally, also cleanse that ally, and then also give them health as well. So he heals, cleanses them, gives them 100% turn meter, and dispels any debuffs. Yeah, so he heals, cleanses, and then he also does an area of effect attack. So it's awesome. And I mean, he's basically able to ignore taunt the entire match. And he brings his own special ability, kind of like Thrawn does with his leader ability, that allows you to basically pick another ally to call in for assist, and then you cleanse that ally as well. So again, it's just he's got such an OP kit. And I mean, if you get into talking about his leader ability and his unique, which gives you like possibly, if you're a light side character and he's in the leader slot, what is it, 40% or is it 20 or 40%, critical chance, critical damage, what is it, 20% or 40%?
Are you talking about his unique?
Yeah.
It's he gives 10% to I think it's crit damage.
And then if he's in the leader slot, it's doubled, right? So basically he gives like 20% of all that if he's in the leader slot.
No, it's 10% when he's the leader. It's 5%, I think, if not.
Okay. Yeah,
it's tenacity, crit damage. It might be accuracy. I'd have to pull it up. I'm running on.
I have it in front of me here. It's 10% tenacity, health steal, max health, max protection, critical hit avoidance, defense, and critical damage. We should have just said all of the things. And then other light side allies gain half the bonuses while Revan is active, and then the bonuses are all doubled. So when he's in the leader slot, he gets 20% of those, and his supporting cast, if they are light side, get 10%.
Okay. So it's a pretty sick bonus. I mean,
it's a pretty sick bonus, yeah.
What do you guys think about Revan being number 1?
Well, I mean, you see a trend here: 3, 2, 1, Treya, Thrawn, and Revan. These are arguably the 3 best abilities in the game, with the Isolate, the Fracture, and now the Mark. I mean, those are just phenomenal, unique abilities these characters have. And for as difficult as these characters are to obtain, they should have something like this. And just great, just a fantastic leader, silly leader. I mean, I think on SWGOH.GG, the leadership's so in-depth, like it doesn't even fit inside the box. Like it's so large. Just does so much for the team. The recovering protection, the mark, he's got healing elements, he's got countering elements, he's got, or no, he doesn't have countering, excuse me. He's got the bypass taunt, like you mentioned. Base stat-wise, he is kind of inferior to some other characters, but his kit definitely makes up for it.
For sure.
Go
ahead.
Basically, he has you know, when we first looked at his kit, I started writing down all of the different abilities that he has basically, you know, he's like a hodgepodge of the best abilities in the game. You know, there's a part of him that I feel is it's a little bit uncreative, because they're just like, okay, so let's see, R2-D2's passive bonuses, Thrawn's turn meter swap. It's such like he's such a catch-all for everything. He has all of the best abilities in the game. So he's, you know, he will be absolutely a timeless character for our game. If our game goes on for another 10 years, he'll still be able to own in whatever we're playing at that time. So, and his raid abilities, really, that's, you know, to get, you know, 10 million in P2 of the raid pretty dependably is incredible. So he's, you know, his leadership is great, because once you have him, and you can start, you know, placing in the top 10 just with, you know, with his score to support you, then you're, you know, the world opens up with better gear and more guild candies and etc. etc.
He's basically the Mary Sue of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
I don't know who Mary Sue is.
Time out. Did you just say guild candies? Is that right?
I paused because I can't remember the proper name for them, but that's what I call them, the guild candies.
Guild candies it is.
Guild candies it is.
Currency. Guild store currency. There we go.
Mary Sue is what they call a character, like a lot of people call Rey the Mary Sue of Star Wars, because she's just like never been trained, and she already has like all these super awesome powers, and she's just, you know, just amazing, like just a Mary Sue, like for example, like Daenerys Targaryen would be like the Mary Sue of Game of Thrones, you know. So yeah,
like a little prodigy.
He's the prodigy of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But that's our #1 legendary character in the game. We do have an honorable mention, and he is little and green. His name is Grandmaster Yoda. So Yoda is probably he's the first legendary character that ever came out. He's the first legendary character I got, and I mean, you need 5 Jedi to get him, so he's pretty easily attainable. There's so many Jedi in this game. And he adds so much value to a Revan squad. I mean, basically, you kind of need this guy for the damage, you know, which, yeah, you would think that some of the other characters on there, like Revan himself, would do a little more damage, but, I mean, Yoda is the damage dealer of that team. Also, since his rework, he brings a lot of benefits to the game. Again, he also, you know, has the ability to gain foresight every time he uses his basic attack. You know, he can reduce turn meter. He has the ability to copy other people's buffs and then spread them to his own allies. So that's probably the coolest thing that he does overall, and then also gives everybody foresight and tenacity up, which is fantastic, basically making them immune to negative status effects unless they're cleansed. He's just a, you know, he's a fast character, and somebody who kind of runs the gamut as far as being able to do a basic, an area of effect attack, a return meter reduction attack. The only thing he kind of lacks really is a cleanse of the opponents, but overall, I mean, he does pretty much everything on the gamut for a legendary character. I mean, what are your thoughts, Maurice?
Well, he got a rework right before Bastila came out, and that really did make him a much better character. Just for the lone fact that he does the AOE now and gets to take another turn, so that's pretty. That's pretty, because you can do your AOE, steal all the buffs, then immediately spread them, and even that move gives him even more turn meter now. So I mean, the rework was needed. He kind of fell way off, and that could have been because of the lack of Jedi support, maybe, perhaps. And then we got Bastila, now we have Jolee, now we have Revan, Juhani, all these new Jedi that just really bring him back. Just a great special damage character, so really benefits from offense. And one of the few characters where offense percentage, once you take it to 6C, may actually trump the flat offense stat on your mods, depending on how much it is. Just a special damage oriented character. just big damage from a support character. That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts, T?
Yeah, I mean, he's so great. I'm glad that they made him, that they reworked him. I'm still a little bit bitter about his leadership ability. I did say to that, along with a lot of other people who were very excited about his rework and his sudden usefulness in the game. He I had him in the raid today hitting for 120,000, and that's with my offense set, not even with a critical damage set. I think trading an offense set for a critical damage set maybe in the raid would be the way to go, depending on your secondaries. But 120,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, he's great.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's just a fantastic overall character. Adds a lot of value to the Jedi squad, and just he's one of the first characters you get. Definitely somebody you should go after if you don't already have him. But somebody that I think will kind of like a lot of these characters here, just continually see an increase in viability whenever the meta shifts, because I mean, he is Grandmaster Yoda. He's the Grandmaster of the Jedi Order, and I mean, he's portrayed in the game as to be one of the greatest Jedi of all time, or the most powerful Jedi of all time. So, fantastic all-around character. But that basically completes our meta report. I'm sorry, our top 5 for this week. If you like that kind of thing, please do leave a like on the video and do subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, please click the bell icon in order to receive notifications whenever we go live on Sunday nights and whenever I release new content during the week. I'm sure we're going to be getting some more information over the next few days about the release of C-3PO. So whenever that does come, I'll make sure to make a video about that and kind of discuss my thoughts on how to get better prepared for that event, if in fact it is an event related to either Ewoks or something like that. But we're gonna get back to some gameplay here now. Maurice, I know that you're kind of limited and you're on mobile at the moment. Does that mean you don't have the ability to look into the chat?
That's correct, yeah. I think she's put some questions in the Discord chat,
I've been collecting some questions.
Yeah, she took over.
Oh, I just found a couple of more here.
Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Juhani here into Galactic War. We'll play around with her a little bit. And while we do that, take a look at her, we'll do some Q&A. So if you guys have any topics you'd like to discuss, any questions you'd like asked on the stream, now is typically the time where we do ask those questions and discuss those topics. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be a question. Again, if you just want to talk about something specifically, or, territory wars, territory battles, upcoming characters, just theory crafting, you can type that into the chat, and we will do our best to get it, discussed here on the stream before we wrap it up for the day. See, I'm gonna throw in Ezra, and then I'll throw in Juhani. Actually, no, I'm gonna use Jolie because he can revive. She's definitely dying.
Or do you want me to read these questions? Is that what we're doing here?
Sure, go ahead. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Wergoal 128. What is the comp for using JTR to kill Revan, and how fast is that BB-8? Well,
what do you think?
I don't use this team personally to counter Revan, but you're gonna need that BB-8. Yeah, you gotta have that BB-8 going first. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say that. So relatively fast. It's pretty easy to get BB-8 faster than Revan. It's not too difficult because he will get the bonus from some droids and stuff. So, I'm not sure. Go ahead then.
So the comp is the little, can we call them the light side triumvirate? Rey, BB-8, and R2, and Thrawn and Nest. So you need BB-8 and R2 to be very, very fast. Typically, you want you can have R2 the fastest. You want him around 300 speed. And then he's, of course, putting stealth on Nest. And Nest is built with I've seen her built with tenacity and with no tenacity, but there's no speed, all protection. You just want her to survive that onslaught of these crazy, 6,500 special offense Yodas that are kicking around right now, because he still will one-shot her if you're not looking for, protection, arrow, triangle, cross, circle, plus a ton of flat offense. Did I say offensive protection? Protection on all of those, and then a bunch of flat protection or really nice percentage protection secondaries. So you just want like a super beefy Nest with no health and all protection. Put the stealth on her, and then you're taking down that team like you would. You can. There's other comps that you can put in there. I've seen L3 being used, not Thrawn. I've done it. I usually do it with just droids, so I don't have to get my BB-8 as fast, because there's some really, not really fast Revans, but some pretty fast Revans on my shard. So if you bring in, the more droids you bring in, the faster your droids are to start. I like to do it with IPD or who else have I brought in there? Yeah.
I didn't even know there was. I didn't even know there was like a JTR team that could take out Revan, but that makes a lot of sense.
It's basically doing the Maul team with the Triumvirate, or the Aura Singh team with Nest. It's just making Nest take a beating, and then hopefully everybody else gets their job done before it's too late.
Okay, what's the next question?
All right, next question comes from Jon Snow. Anyone notice a difference in TW matchup this time? Our guild, Zai, actually got matched up with a very, very, very similar guild. Almost everything. I mean, we pull up the thing, the only difference was we had more Revans, but the same number of Treyas, same number of Zetas, 20 plus speed mods, 15 plus speed, 10, all very, very similar. So it was, I didn't see, if anything, it works great. I mean, I don't know though. That's just my one-time experience. It could be different for everybody.
We
faced up against a much lower guild than us. It was. Now again, we were also running. We only ran 40 people. So, from in my experience, that it seems like the matchmaking's still not really up to par yet. But I don't know.
We before the match before we got matched up with Wolfpack is the boss. I think they're top 10 in GP anyway, and it was a 20 million difference. But we had been on a winning streak, and that happens to us very consistently. We'll win 10, and then we'll get matched. We got matched with Legacy, and then we win 10, and we get matched with Wolfpack as the boss. They're both at 20 million GP differences. I love facing guilds that are big like that, because you can kind of go up to the top and basically see all of the creative teams up there that they've been adopting from each other. So we get tons of new ideas whenever we face a guild that is that big. I hope that still gets to happen for us every once in a while. We had a very, very even matchup when looking at mods and gear configured characters this time. So I'm wondering if it was the GP. Like they went in one short, and then their GP was very, very close to our GP, and that rarely happens for us. So yeah, it was a fair match for sure.
So we leave Territory Wars open, and it's optional. So you can do it. You don't have to do it. We're very relaxed on TW. So majority, I'd say about like 75% of the guild does participate, but there's a good 25% of the guild that just, some days they don't, some days they do. Like on an average, we usually will get around 41 people that join TW, and because of the fact that we have less people join, it seems like that has something to do with getting lower matchups. Now, when they originally created the game mode, it was intended to be an optional game mode. So if you didn't want to do it, you didn't have to. And that's kind of why I think they find a lower bracket team for you if you don't run all of your members. But the problem is that since we're, even with 40 members, we're still a lot more stacked with GP and rosters than some of the guilds that are 20 million, 30 million less than us. Even if they're running all 50 of their members, a lot of them just don't have enough Treyas or Revens to compete, and it kind of becomes difficult. So it's like we end up being put in a situation where we get an easy win. But to be honest with you, the reason that we do TW the way we do is because we don't care ultimately whether we win or lose, because it's either 2 Zetas or 3 Zetas if you win. So it's really not a big difference in rewards. I think that would turn around entirely if like they made like C-3PO the reward character for winning TW, or if they made like, if they gave us like anything. It's just, again, the gear and the reward differential between losing and winning is not really anything to speak of. So a lot of people aren't really super amped about it, and again, it's one of those things where we leave it open for some people to play or not, and if they decide not to, what ends up happening is you end up getting put in a lower guild bracket, and that ends up putting us in sometimes some unfair matches against some lower guilds. But this last time I think we faced against a fellow Alliance guild, Alliance Vader's Fist, and we're at I think 216 million GP, and they're at 185 million GP. So it's almost 30 million difference, which that sucks, but what can we do? We can't make people play TW either. We don't want to get people upset. Some people would quit the game if we forced them to play TW, I
think the easiest fix, and I don't know why they don't do this, is just to simply, put more of an emphasis on losses. It seems that whenever we've been winning many, many times in a row, they'll give us a guild that's just impossible for us to beat. It just doesn't make any sense to, it's like, okay, obviously you're breaking our winning streak. Fair enough. But why not just kind of amp up those matches bit by bit by bit, so that if your guild is going in at 40 out of 50 and you're winning every time, then the matches are getting harder every time until you're at a place that maybe you're not facing another guild that's 216 million. Maybe you're facing a guild that's 200 million, but they're giving you a little bit more of a run for your money, right? Because it makes it fun when you're on the edge of your seat watching those last minutes of the clock tick down and you don't know who's going to win. So it's I don't know why it seems like an easy fix to just kind of flip the algorithm. So it's like, okay, doesn't really matter who you're matched up with the first time. If you continue to win, you're going to continue to get harder matches, whether that's more GP, more Zetas, more geared characters, more mods. That's going to ramp up for your guild until you're at a place where you start winning and losing. And if you lose too many in a row, well, then you fall back down and you can, start climbing back up the ladder.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, personally, I feel bad because, like I said, we don't really care that much whether it's like one extra Zeta or not, what I mean? But there's a lot of guilds out there that really want, they really care a lot and they want those rewards. And, it's, they should have an opportunity to face against an alliance that's more up to par with them, even though we're only rolling with 40 people, we still trample them and it's not really fair, but again, like I said, I mean, if 10 people don't want to play, they don't have to, so I'm not gonna make my guild members upset to please other people, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's one of those things where I'm sure at some point they'll find a happy medium. I play other games where matchmaking is screwed up, and it's something that always is the case in every game. I mean, like, there's always some sort of unfair matchmaking, and at least it's not an arena where you get your crystals. Because in this game, arena is fair as it can get. I mean, they really don't even give, in most cases, the pay-to-play players an advantage in arena in this game. But it's in other games that's not the case. I mean, you have a character and or you get matched up sometimes. Like I play a Power Rangers game where you play. We have these guild events called like Megazord events where you use like your Zords to fight against other Zords, and the damage compiled for your whole team, goes to the score, and whatever team has the most damage gets the #1 rank as an alliance, and so it's very competitive. And the problem is that a lot of times you'll fight, like let's say as a character, you'll go in there and fight against somebody, and you have a Zord that has, let's say, 5 million power, and then you get matched against somebody who has 17 million power, almost 3 times, over 3 times the amount of power that you have, and you have no chance to win that battle. But that's just the way it is. I mean, sometimes the matchmaking just doesn't work in your favor. So I think that'll be something that even if they try to correct it, no matter what happens, there'll always be some element of unfairness when it comes to the matchmaking that I think can never be perfect. But I'm sure they'll get better at it, and it'll get to the point where it'll be a little bit more satisfactory, if anything.
All right.
Next question.
Next question comes from Grandmaster Baroda.
What's up, Broda? Broda!
What's up? When is Grand Arena?
Well,
Grand Arena begins on Tuesday.
I
totally made that up. I'm kidding.
My money is on Christmas week.
Really?
I think it's very.
Do they
very
do that? I can't really remember if they do that or not. Like release things that week of Christmas.
Well, I find that they like to release big game modes during holidays because that's when people have time to sit around and play it. So like they last year released Dark Side Territory Battles on Thanksgiving weekend. And it was supposed to come out in December, like in the middle of December, but they ended up moving it up and releasing it like the day, like the weekend of Thanksgiving, because they figured that people would have the time to sit there and do it, and whenever they roll something out, it's always kind of like an experiment to see if, it's something that should go on, let's say on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or if it's something that should go on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They want to make sure that they have a good mix of everything and that they're making the right decisions as to when these events are going to roll out. And as they add more and more events, they're probably going to try to split up, the events so that it's not like you're getting bombarded with raids, territory battles, territory wars, and Grand Arena all on the same day, because that'll get people really turned off. So they'll probably mix it up to the point where, like, you know, after, let's say you have a territory battles, you'll have a territory wars, and after you have a territory wars, you'll have a grand arena, and then after you have a grand arena, you know, or they'll sprinkle in a grand arena here and there. I think it'll be on off days, maybe like during a preview phase of territory war, you'll have your grand arena battle day, you know, and that'll be how it works, you know. So that's how I think they'll do it. But I think around Christmas, I think about 3 weeks. I think the legendary event is about 2 weeks away. I think this game mode is coming about 3 weeks away.
All right. Let's have a look at what we got next. WereGoal. What do you guys think of removing all tenacity secondaries from Jolie so GK taunts more often when Jolie is attacked? I have never understood the stack Jolie with tenacity strategy at all. I don't. He's already got 100% tenacity in his kit. I'm not sure if that applies to the crit avoidance or not, but it's. I never really understood it. If he does get crit, he's just gonna put up crit immunity on himself, and then GK is gonna taunt. More than likely, you're facing another GK team, another Revan team. So all you have to do is just steal the crit immunity with Grandmaster Yoda and give it to your whole team. I mean, I don't understand the stacking tenacity. He's already immune naturally to turn meter effects, so Yoda can't remove his turn meter, and he already has 100% tenacity, a unique on top of his base tenacity, which is more than likely going to ward off the ability block from Basila and the stun from Yoda. It's just a you're much better off putting health and health percentage in place of tenacity. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. I feel he doesn't need it. Maybe I'm wrong. If you guys have a counterpoint or would like to,
we sent out modding priorities for the guild for territory wars, and someone kind of called that out. That it's counterintuitive to having, you want General Kenobi to taunt, because what's better, taking down Jolie slowly or just not being able to get at him? Right? And I think it's the not being able to get at him. If you're removing your auto taunter when you're doing that, it's a great strategy with Barriss. It's like as soon as Barriss gets crit immunity, over to her and take her out, because she's not going to be able to heal, and then she's done, right? So it's the same kind of concept, is that you're just choosing to put crit immunity on a character that you really don't want to die, just like you really don't want Barriss to die. I think it's smart. Mm-hmm.
Well, he's got a base tenacity of 39%, right? So 39%, and then again, I'm not sure if that 100% tenacity applies to that bonus, right? So it would be 139%. That's half, or would it be just the 39%? Because he gets crit avoidance equal to half of his tenacity. Is it his base tenacity or base tenacity plus that bonus? If it's base tenacity plus that bonus, then you get the bonus from Revan. That's 80 something percent crit avoidance. Like, what in the hell do you need the extra tenacity for? I don't know if that's the case, but if it's not, if it's just the 39%, you're still getting 20% crit avoidance plus the 10% from Revan, and then all the crit immunity going around. I don't know.
Honestly, I totally missed the question, so if you guys could repeat it, I'll give my thoughts on it.
You're killing me, man. I'm just kidding. What do you guys think of removing all tenacity secondaries from Jolie so GK taunts more often?
It's not really that bad of an idea, to be honest with you, because GK does not taunt quite as often because of that, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like he would still have I feel like he would still have a lot of tenacity, even if you remove them. I think he'd still be a little bit. I think he'd still have too much tenacity to really see a big difference, in my opinion.
Now this is for GK. Long term, you're probably going to have Juhani on your team instead of GK. So, then you might want to consider it because you're not going to get the crit immunity, and then you're not going to have a taunter that's based off crits. So then that would be a case where you should consider it at least. I mean, we're sitting here dogging it and stuff, but in the future,
You really think Juhani's going to trump GK in Arena?
Oh yeah. Maybe not in Arena, but in TW for sure, because GK is so plug and play. You just put Juhani on your Revan team and put GK on anywhere else.
I kind of feel like Juhani's going to be better with an Old Republic team with Big Z, Mission, Canderous Ordo, and Carth Onasi lead. That's what I think.
Could be. I mean, she is a dynamic character. It'll be very interesting to see how we saw a couple of them in TW last time. Not very well, like 3-star gear, 9 or 10. I mean, they weren't super impressive, but that's not a very accurate measure of how good she is.
It's true.
But yeah, she's gonna be pretty impressive. Let's see what the next question is. We've got blah, 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 blah. Nathaniel Morgan, what happened to that Ewok Revan counter? Well, people learned how to use Revan.
It was a pretty fringe counter to begin with, right? It's basically the people who have their Ewoks maxed with all of the Zetas with beautiful mods that were using that. But yeah, I think I named a bunch of squads that Ewoks beat at the beginning of the stream, and I forgot to mention Revan. I just completely slipped my mind. So that's what he's referring to. He's just like, TMoney, you forgot. People beat.
Listen, whenever a character behind a paywall like Revan comes out, and certain people aren't going to get him, there's always going to be something that comes out that kind of tries to make that character look bad. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where the first thing that happened that day of, when people didn't even have their Revans geared yet, was, there was a lot of negativity. People were all worried. I mean, we were even, because of all the negativity, I mean, the Game Changers were even all scrambling in. Do you remember that night? I mean, we were like scrambling in the chat about whether he's broken or not, like something's not working as it should be with Revan.
Yeah.
We were like sitting there like, guys, I mean, we were like going back to the developers and saying, hey guys, Revan's not playing the way he was on the test accounts. You guys should check this out. And I mean, they were like having dialogue back and forth with us, checking it out. I mean, we were saying like, listen, he's not performing as well as he should, and they tested everything, and he was operating as intended, and it was just us. I mean, I was looking at him on my account too, and I was thinking to myself, something's wrong with this guy, and it was just because he wasn't geared yet. He wasn't as well modded as he was on my test account, and the rest of the team wasn't ready yet. So like once that all fell into place, it made a lot more sense.
Well, on these test accounts, of course he looks great, because we're like, just pick 5 random Gear 12 all 5 pieces Jedi out of our inventory, and just select, I don't know, one of the hundreds of 60 mods we have at our disposal. I mean, of course, and I don't know. Ewoks look good at the beginning, but like she said, you're putting arena mods on it. Even I thought the droids were a counter, and then we did like a test stream, and I was getting destroyed. Things that work initially. A lot of times, there were so many teams that counter Traya. When Traya first came out, I was like, "Oh, I've got the answer." Yes, it worked great for 2 weeks until people learned how to optimize their teams properly, and then the number of counters just start, tanking. So
right.
But there are people that can beat with Ewoks, but it is a big investment. Nathaniel Morgan, can Revan solo the Rancor? Probably. I don't know. I haven't tried. If he can solo the tank, I'd imagine he can solo the Rancor.
Did I do it with him? Actually,
if I remember to hit the Rancor, I'm lucky. I haven't
only do
anything.
I do the Rancor with pools. We only do it like once every like couple of months. We just take top 3 every couple of months. But I thought I did it with them. Let me check.
Well, Revan doesn't. Does Revan reduce turn meter? Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So
Revan reduces turn meter. Grandmaster Yoda reduces turn meter. Qui-Gon reduces turn meter.
So yeah. If you ran Revan lead with Qui-Gon, Grandmaster Yoda, I mean, you'd probably still want to put in there maybe like CLS, just for fun, and maybe even run like maybe even like slap a Tebow in there.
Slap a Tebow in there.
And just running on auto. You're definitely not losing, that's for sure. CLS alone makes it, just an auto. You can probably auto the Rancor raid with CLS by himself.
Well, what episode is this of the live show? What number?
75.
Episode 75, I think, is the first time anyone ever said, just go ahead and slap Tebow in there.
Go ahead and slap Tebow in there, yep.
First time ever, yes.
There had to be a first time for that.
A Tebow recommendation. There we go.
Hell
yeah, or heck yeah. Sorry.
You can definitely. So I mean, like, yeah, I would say Yoda, Revan lead, Yoda, Qui-Gon Jinn. What about? Let me think here. No, you don't get turn meter reduction. Let me see. Are there any other Jedi that reduce turn meter?
Just Qui-Gon and Grandmaster Yoda.
We bring in Bastila to, with the buffs just to help speed along the damage a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, she gives a little bit of turn meter too. Yeah, I think Bastila would definitely be on that team. All right, Thomas Willingham asks, blah, 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 asked last week about Aura Singh. He's finally got her Gear 12 and Zated, trying to figure the best lineup for P3, not including Django yet. Anyway, okay, so I guess he's asking how he should use Aura Singh in P3. I don't have Aura Singh. She's the last Cantina character I have, so I'm not even refreshing Cantina right now. It would take me a while, but the initial videos I saw, it was like Aura, Boba, Dengar, Nest, and Imbo, I think it was the videos that I was seeing early on. She's in there critting for 750k, and they're having a good old time. I don't really know the mechanics of that comp. If you guys do, then please speak up.
Yeah, no, I'm not really too great. I mean, the only experience I have with Aura Singh is that stream that we had where we tested her out, and she did a bunch of damage. I mean, I'm working on her eventually. I'm still right now farming L3 out of the Cantina. So, I mean, eventually I will move on to her, but again, I haven't really messed with her besides that initial testing that we did with her. I don't want to give you any misinformation, so...
I can't... So there are a couple videos out on it. Skeltrex has a very beautiful video on it. I think Nukin's put a video out. There's a lot of videos out there, and I'm sure if you're watching this stream, you've probably watched those videos as you use YouTube. But there are some good ones, and Skeltrex is, like all his videos, very, very well done. Just nice. You can almost pause the screen to see how you model your characters, get them set up, move on to the next one, and just shows you the run. Very, very good video there in terms of that. And I'll have her soon. It'll be real nice to have that team ready, so I don't have to sit here and retreat 75 times with my Greedo team. It's just, it's awful. Oh man, I hate P3, but it is what it is. So congrats on your Aura. She's a pretty decent character. A lot of people just kind of dub her as a raid character. She does some pretty nice damage. She's pretty useful in like a TW setting too. She is a usable character for PvP, believe it or not.
She'll beat Revan too, because all the bounty hunters start in stealth. And
Yeah.
so you don't even have to have a stealther in there. You just stick nest, and he will target her, and off you go. So I think you have to. You don't bring Bosk in because he's not of great use if you can't use his taunt, and you don't want him taunting if they're in stealth. You're gonna bring in big damage dealers. So Aura, Boba, Django, Greedo, that sort of thing.
Piano Jonathan saved 161 Zeta Mass. Does this qualify as mental illness? Can't decide. No, I envy you. You know, if you haven't used them yet, that means that you haven't really found anything you want to spend them on. But what you're going to have is, let's say, I don't know if you got Revan, but next time Revan comes around, if you didn't, you have all 3 Zetas for him. You got a Zeta for Jolie. You got you got Zetas for the whole team. You know, you just you go from 0 to hero, just like no team to a completely finished team. Who knows what characters we get?
You're definitely gonna be prepared for the beta.
Yeah, I mean, if you find a team you like, let's say, you know, we've been talking about Old Republic. Let's say you really like the Old Republic, you can Zeta Juhani, you can Zeta Carth, you can Zeta Ordo, you can Zeta Zalbar, Mission, any scoundrel, Old Republic, whatever. You can just build a whole team. I think that's pretty cool. As long as you have the thousands of Omega mats you're going to need, but I mean, that's the thing. Congratulations. Don't be ashamed of that. Sure. I hit 20 and I get such an itchy trigger finger. I can't even. I don't know if I've ever seen 60 Zetas. Not much. Not even. Ugh. Thomas Willingham. What percentage do y'all win in TW?
TW. I mean, right now, pretty much we win 100%. But
we are probably 60-ish percent. 60ish. We started off kind of slow, but we did kind of a little mini merger in the guild, and the guys that came over were just fantastic, and they really shot our win percentage up. So we're doing a lot better. We had a really, really good TW this last time. I was really, really proud of how we played. It was really, really efficient, and just everyone participated. It was really, really proud of the guild.
Yeah.
We win. I think our record. I was just gonna go and look and see if we got our 40th win. I think we're 39 and 5. I think that's what we are. I think that we just had our 50th, maybe our 51st territory war. And I think we've lost five or 6, and we've tied 5 or 6 so far.
Oh yes, the good old ties.
Yeah, we tied a lot in the beginning, and then we lost a few in the beginning, and then we basically go like 8 and then a loss, and then 8 and a loss, or something like that.
This is from Mitchell Cronin. Juhani to replace Basila and Revan TW teams? ? Will Juhani replace Bastila?
Will Juhani replace Bastila? I don't think so.
It's more likely she'll replace Bastila than GK.
I don't know. I don't know who she's going to replace, to be honest.
You know one. It's possible.
Possibly nobody, yeah.
If you're talking about an arena team, Bastila is just so important for that team. Gets Yoda just hitting like a truck with her buff, and then that small amount of turn meter she gives at the beginning of her turn really does start to add up. I don't know. She's got the ability block. She's got the dispel.
You really do need that damage bonus. You know what I mean? And that's.
With those bonuses, if you do build her offense oriented, she can hit semi hard. Decent damage. Not super impressive, but I mean enough to make a difference with those buffs.
Absolutely.
But the thing about Juhani, it just, she does get considerable damage bonuses for the debuffed enemies, and the Jedi really don't. bring many debuffs with them. And if you're facing another Jedi team that just has foresight and tenacity spammed everywhere, she's not going to get too much bonus. That's really the... I mean, I guess I'm more excited about this character than you two are.
Who, Juhani?
Yeah.
No, I'm excited about Juhani. I mean, anytime a new Jedi comes in the game, I'm excited about it. But it's
just... She's going to be very useful as long as you're not fighting another Jedi team. She's got the stagger. She's got to dispel all debuffs. Again, there's not many debuffs going around. You can't dispel Mark for that buff immunity. She's going to be a Territory War MVP. She's going to be a PvE. You know, I think Mist called her a rock star. She's a PvE rock star. She is going to be very, very good for territory battles, for raids, and stuff like that. So that's the last question I have here on the list.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it's about time anyway. We're getting to the 2-hour mark here on the show, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here momentarily. But any final thoughts? I mean, we didn't have Maurice here to kind of discuss the C3PO thing. I mean, any final thoughts on when C3PO is coming and what do you think it's going to be? I mean, you think it's going to be Ewoks or what are your thoughts?
Has there been any sort of announcement or teaser at the Ewoks, or is that just what people are assuming? Well, like I'm a little bit behind on the news and stuff. I know it's a super busy week. Like, have they hinted at the Ewoks? I've heard some people toss around the Jawas.
I think the only sign about the Ewoks is that Ewok Scout is the login character for the month.
So they put Ewok Scout as the login character of the month. I mean, so I guess C3. I guess he's not ruled out as a Grand Arena prize, is he? Like, there's been nothing that.
No.
So he could be. Somebody asked earlier about when's Grand Arena coming. Could be when when this character is released, because he could be the prize for Grand Arena. You never know. But like you said earlier, I'm sure we'll have more information in a few days, next week. Those continue to kind of tease us a little bit, to keep us interested, and then poof, surprise. But with the announcement of this character, if they do a repeat like last time, they announced, they announced Revan, everyone's excited. There could be a little sneaky resource drain in beforehand, so just be prepared for tons of stuff. They could go a whole lot of different ways with these new Old Republic characters, with him, and just it's exciting time in the game.
Absolutely. I mean, it could go a lot of different ways. I personally, I have a feeling it's going to be Ewoks, so that's kind of why I've put an investment here into them. But either way, I'm going to be working on them to kind of get them together, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll find out more in the next few days, I'm sure, and they'll probably give us an idea of what to expect probably by the end of next week. So probably by the next live show, we'll probably have a better idea what's going on. And, we'll discuss it then. So, again, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us till 2:30 in the morning EST. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I'm excited to have TMoney with us tonight. I mean, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I love coming on the show.
You are welcome anytime. Also, I want to mention in the description of the live show, we do have a link to good old Maurice and TMoney's channel, Operation Metaverse. Do hit that link and go subscribe to their channel. They have a live show every Tuesday night at 9:30 Eastern time, and they have a great show. They get a lot of guests that are game changers, or people in the community that are involved in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So they usually have a cool guest every week, and they also release a video every week on the live show that you get to see first there. That's usually some sort of a meta-busting squad that you could check out, courtesy a la good old Maurice. So definitely go check that out, and subscribe to their channel as well, and go check out their live show on Tuesday night. But we'll be back next Sunday, same time, same channel, around midnight, with a whole lot of fun and hopefully some more information about this legendary character. I'll go ahead and tell you that if there's any information that's posted before then, or we get any info about C-3PO in the meantime, I'll make sure to make a video about that during the week. But look forward to seeing you guys then. May the Force be with you, and we will see you on the next one, guys. Have a good night.